You have 7?
Yep, I do.
It's 7 o'clock, time for our regularly scheduled meeting. Mike, would you call the roll, please?
Collier-Wise.
Here.
Helwig.
Here.
Holland.
Here.
Humphrey.
Here.
Price.
Here.
Sorensen.
Here.
Ward. Wilson. Mayor Powell.
Here. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3 are the minutes from last week, February 19th special meeting and February 19th regular meeting.
Move approval.
Motion is second to approve both sets of meetings. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Agenda. Let's see if I screwed that up. What did I do with the agenda? I guess this is the agenda. Stand for approval of the agenda as printed, unless Mike or John, you know of any change.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the agenda as printed. Item 5, under visitors to be heard. Addressing the council. Persons addressing the council shall use the microphone at the podium. Please raise your hand to be recognized. Go to the podium and state your name and address. Members of the public may speak under visitors to be heard on any topic not on the agenda. Remarks are limited to 5 minutes and no decision will be made at this time. For agenda items, public testimony will be taken at the beginning of each agenda item after the subject has been announced by the mayor and explained by staff. Any citizen who wishes may speak one time for 3 minutes on each agenda item. Public testimony will then be closed and the topic will be given to the governing body for possible action. At this point, only city council members and staff may discuss the current agenda item unless a council member moves to allow another person to speak and there's unanimous consent from the council. Questions from council members, however, may be directed to staff or a member of the public through the presiding officer at any time. Is there anyone here that has any item that's not on the agenda that they wish to bring up? Council? Okay. We have no public hearings and we have no old business. So we'll go right into item 8A, first reading of ordinance 1399 to amend Title III, Administration, Chapter 32, City Organizations, to amend the definitions and complaint process and add Commission Subcommittee Preliminary Review. And Addison, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Vermillion Human Relations Commission, or VHRC, is charged with 2 primary tasks. 1, education through disseminating information and conducting public meetings regarding inclusivity and anti-discriminatory practice. And 2, receiving complaints of alleged discriminatory practice in employment, housing, labor organizations, education, property rights, and providing public accommodations and services. The Commission meets the first Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. here at City Hall, and these meetings are open to the public. We've had 5 regular public meetings since our first meeting in September, as well as 1 4-hour special meeting in December. During the special meeting, we discussed and agreed upon the specifics of our Complaint Alternative Dispute Resolution, or ADR, policies and procedures. However, during that time, we came to realize that some amendments to our ordinances would be required to accommodate for the practical implementation of these procedures, as well as for state statutes. As discussed at the last council meeting on February 19th, the amendments provided here in proposed ordinance 1399 address policies regarding the procedure timeline and mode of notification of both parties. The addition of a commission subcommittee charged with a preliminary review of received complaints, a statute workaround with regard to the definition of officially filing a complaint, and basic formatting alignment corrections. Additionally, as requested by the council last meeting, the section regarding complaint ADR documentation confidentiality has been moved up from 3255D to 3255A. In your agenda packets, you have been given the tracked copy of proposed ordinance 1399. These amendments were reviewed and approved for this proposal by the VHRC during our February 7th meeting. The only financial consideration with this agenda item would be the cost of publishing the ordinance, and administration recommends that the City Council approve the first reading of Ordinance 1399. At this time, Vice Chairperson Travis Lutler and I are here to answer any questions you might have regarding this proposal.
If you use the city attorney, does the city then pay his fee?
Yes.
I move approval of proposed ordinance 1399, amending Title 3, Chapter 32, as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, Ida.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council.
You can go on spring break now.
Yeah. Well, I got to be here again on Thursday, so not quite yet.
Item B is the final plat of Lot A of Holly Tract 1 in the southwest quarter of the southwest quarter, southeast quarter of the southwest quarter, and the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter of Section 20, and of government lots 2, 3, and 4 of Section 29, and accretion thereto, all in Township 92 North, Range 51 west of the 5th Principal Meridian, Clay County, South Dakota. Jose, can you pin that out on the map?
No. Thank you. As you mentioned, Landmark Surveying Company submitted a plat on behalf of the owner of this tract of land. The plat will be separating the farmstead that they own from the remaining farmland. Essentially, it would be creating two tracts of land. Lot A, which is the one that we're more particularly concerned with, would be created, and that would be 5.44 acres of land. The larger parcel is obviously much larger, but it encompasses about 158 acres or so. And this would be Burbank Road, as it mentions right there. On the north side of this, you would actually be on the city's golf course. And a little bit, it's about a quarter of a mile or so from Natalie Drive, if I remember correctly. So it's within the jurisdictional zoning area, as we mentioned earlier, that interesting part of the city and the county. But anyway, so this falls within that, and because it's within this area, there's actually a different procedure that we have to follow. These plats get reviewed by the county's planning commission, and then they make a recommendation to the city council for your approval. The county did review this at their February 25th meeting, and they recommend approval of the plat. There are no code issues. It meets all the code requirements as far as the city's concerned, as far as the county's concerned. So with that, all of that being said, staff finds that the plat meets ordinance requirements and recommends approval of the final plat.
Thank you, Jose. Council?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the final plat of Lot A. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item C, annual library report, and Dan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, council members, for the time on your agenda tonight to present the library's annual report. We do this every year. South Dakota codified law requires that all legally established public libraries submit an annual report both to its governing body and the South Dakota State Library in the form of an annual survey that is submitted to them electronically. The data collected by the State Library is used in the production of the annual South Dakota State Library Data Digest, among other things, and the digest reviews information about public libraries across the whole state. The data is also submitted at the federal level to the Institute of Museum and Library Services, the IMLS, and this entity provides funding to and grants to all kinds of libraries, but most relevant to us, it provides the grants the state program, which funds the state library, or provides about $1 million towards the state library, which funds programs such as electronic databases, interlibrary loan, digitization and preservation of historic publications, continuing education, and support for children's services like the summer reading program. Our annual report was completed and accepted by the Library Board of Trustees at a February 22nd meeting. And as the governing body and the provider of essential funding, it's submitted to you for the council's representative to sign. I won't go over the entire report for you right now. You had a copy of it in your packet, but I'll take a quick moment to highlight a few things for everybody, if that's okay. As far as the data digest goes, it shows us that in 2017, the last review period, there were 3.7 million visits to South Dakota public libraries, averaging about 5 visits per resident. Libraries hosted more than 16,000 programs with 317,149 attendees. 6 million items were checked out, averaging to about 8 items per resident across the whole state. 90% of public libraries provided public Wi-Fi that was used some 800,000 times, and public access computers in libraries saw over 500,000 hours of usage. Our public library collection currently offers access to holdings of over 98,000 resources, including 60,000 of those materials in print. Annual total attendance in the library was up from 76,586 in 2017 to 104,505 in 2018, up some 36%. Total physical circulation was up from 72,752 in 2017 to over 86,500, an increase of 19%. And total collection use, that's the physical and the electronic resources we offer, up from 85,075 in 2017 to over 100,000 in 2018, up some 18%. In addition to this, the library offered 1,036 programs that were attended by 17,207 participants. The library provided access to 31,000 30-minute public computer sessions and more than 11,000 wireless sessions within the library. And a quick overview, in 2018, we were lucky enough to host visits from several authors, including 2 best-selling authors, Craig Johnson, author of the Longmire series and eventual Netflix TV series, presented at the library on his Cold Dish series, and Sam Miller, son of a local resident, and best-selling young adult book, A Light Too Bright, presented on his recent hit, and the next one he's working on. We continued with our after-school program with activities including homework helpers, Lego robotics, makerspace, yoga and nutrition, and origami. Now 5 days a week after school has been ongoing for the last couple of years. We're also grateful to the active support of our Friends of the Library and Foundation, who have energetically supported improvements and updates to the library, as well as programming and materials. I'd just like to thank you all for taking the time to review our annual report. We'd request that you please accept the annual report, and as always, I'm happy to answer anyone's questions now or at any time during the year.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Council? Tom?
I'd just like to say thank you again for the work you do at the library and the entire staff. We really have a library that shines, and we're very proud of Vermillion's library. So thank you for that in this report, and I move we acknowledge receipt of the 2018 annual report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
I'm sorry, a little bit kind of fast. 104,000 visitors, is that to our library?
Yes.
Not statewide, but just to our library?
Yeah.
Is that typical of library our size, or is that up substantially from the libraries of the same, but, probably equal size?
It's comparable. Our numbers are a little higher. We do, on average, just as a comparison, looking at other libraries, we seem to do a lot more programming. We're one of the few libraries that I'm aware of that does after-school programming 5 days a week, which was in response to residents' requests over the years. Going back before my time, at one point we were maybe doing 1 or 2 after-school programs 1 or 2 days a week, with some story time for the younger kids, like the preschool through K, first grade. Now, since 2016, we increased that to 3 days, and then it went up to 4, and then finally 5 days. So just the simple number of programs we're looking has increased those numbers. But in general, I would say the variety of services we're offering as well has really helped. I mean, it's not just the after-school program. We've partnered with OLLI and 4-H and other community groups and organizations for a variety of different activities. And the technology we offer has been extremely popular, in addition to the ability to use the Wi-Fi in the library is really helpful to some residents who may have a device they can use but don't have access to a reliable internet connection. So.
I'll visit there frequently and I'm always impressed. So
thank you.
Right.
Hey, Dan, have you increased the number of hotspots this year? Because I know that was pretty popular last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering if you have increased, have you gotten any more? Or
They have slowly increased. When we first started the program, I believe it was the beginning of 2017, we started with just 2. Between now and then, we've gone up to 10 circulating hotspots. We have held it steady there at the moment. There is still a waiting list. The hotspot question is a little bit of a challenging one, because ultimately the intention of the program was not to encourage people to replace their home internet services if they could afford to get one. So it's a fine line between providing access to residents. The original intention behind the program, residents who maybe for some reason cannot get access to an internet connection, either the service in the area they're in is limited or unreliable, they don't have a lot of options providers-wise. We also have some residents who don't need a regular month-long internet connection. Maybe they only need the access to the internet sporadically once a year to file their taxes online. We've got some homeschool parents who like to check out a hotspot to take home for specific projects and so forth. But a substantial percentage of the usage has been people checking them out to take home to watch Netflix and other recreational activities, which again is, we don't restrict what they can or can't do with it. The challenge has just been finding that cost-effective point between having enough on hand so that there's not too long of a waiting list, while also not making it so easy that maybe people start substituting our hotspots for an at-home internet service if they're able to afford to do that. So right now we have 10. We added, I think that's about 3 more than what we started with at the beginning of 2018, and that helped reduce the waiting list. We were averaging up to as many as 15 to 20 people waiting. I actually, when I left the library earlier and checked one out, there were 8 people waiting. And most of them were due back within the next 3 or 4 days, so most of those people should expect to get access to one within the next week or week and a half, assuming they're returned on time. So I think we're in pretty good shape right now in terms of turnover and accessibility. But it's always a little difficult.
Thank you.
Yeah. Other comments or questions? Well, counsel? Oh, okay, so we're done with discussion? All right, thank you. All in favor signify aye by aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries, thank you. Item D, a request for consumption but not sale of alcohol in the library for Class of 59 reunion. And Mike?
Luann Ouellette, representing the Class of 59, has requested a permit for consumption but not sale of alcoholic beverages on public property for the Class of 59 reunion to be held in the Kozak Room at the Edith B. Sechrist Vermillion Public Library from noon until 9 on June 8, 2019. Copy of the request for the permits included in the packet, along with a letter from the librarian recognizing that they have authorized the event. There's a state statute that provides the governing body of a municipality may permit consumption but not sale of alcoholic beverages on property owned by the public. Administration would recommend approval of the permit for consumption but not sale of alcoholic beverages for the Class of 59 reunion at the Edith B. Sechrist Library from noon until 5 on Sunday, June 8th, as requested by Luann Ouellette, unless some other information is presented to the contrary.
Mike, it says 9.
Okay, I'm sorry, till 9 o'clock.
Is it?
Noon until 9.
Okay.
Isn't
Counsel?
I just have a question. Did the, and I appreciate the letter from the library director, but sometimes when you mix Class of 59 people or other adults with children in the same building, is that going to pose some kind of problem, or how might that be monitored, the drinking age issue?
The event will be taking place in the Kozak room, and they'll be the only ones in there. It'll just be the participants of the class reunion. When they've completed the request, there's a question on there about how many adults and children they plan on attending, and they had 0 down for children. So it will only be the members of the class reunion.
Motion and a second to approve the permit. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thanks, Dan. Mike. Item E, resolution authorizing the purchase of 4 vehicles. And Jose, please.
Thank you. Budget sessions last year at August, one of the items that you guys looked at was the replacement of several vehicles from various departments. We do have a list in your memo regarding the vehicles that would be replaced. It's just 4 of them. One for the pickup truck for the street department, 2 pickup trucks from the Parks and Rec department, and 1 for solid waste department. We did similar to the one that we did last month, or the last council meeting. We looked at Sourcewell and state awards for these vehicles. Once we get those, we ask Vermillion Ford and Jerry Chevrolet for their comparable, or a price, I guess, for those. For the street department, we actually received a low bid from Jerry Chevrolet for a 2019 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD for $31,581. For the Parks and Rec and Solid Waste Department, we received a low bid from Vermillion Ford for a 2019 Ford Super Duty F-250 for $28,888 each. And the other vehicle for Parks and Rec was from Vermillion Ford for a 2019 Ford Super Duty F-150 for $23,738. The 2019 equipment replacement fund includes budget of $76,786 for the street departments, for the street and Parks and Rec department vehicles. The Joint Powers landfill fund has a budget of $40,000 for their pickup truck. The cost of these vehicles purchased from the equipment replacement fund comes up to $84,199, while the Joint Powers landfill fund vehicle comes up to $28,888. In conclusion, administration recommends approving the resolution to purchase the following vehicles from Vermillion Ford: the 2019 Ford Super Duty F-250 as listed earlier, and the 2019 Ford F-150 as mentioned earlier from Vermillion Ford, and from Jerry Chevrolet, the 2019 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD.
Is there any trade-in?
I'm sorry?
Any trade-in?
No. Nope.
Council?
Approval of the low bids. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the low bids. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. F, resolution authorizing the purchase of 1 utility vehicle. Again, Jose, please.
Thank you. Again, at the same meeting last year, you guys also discussed the possibility of purchasing a Workman for the golf course, for the Bluffs Golf Course. The city right now has a 2011 Toro Workman that would be replaced, and that's the one that you guys gave permission, I guess, to look into. The city looked at the National IPA award in conjunction with the city of Tucson, Arizona, for the Toro company, and they do have a 2019 Toro Workman NDX gas for $10,321. We did talk to the local Toro distributor, which would be Midwest Turf and Irrigation out of Omaha, and they would be willing to honor the price, the national IPA price. The 2019 equipment replacement fund included a budget of $11,000 for this purchase. This would be less than that, so the savings would be remaining on the equipment replacement fund and used in other purchases. Administration recommends approving the resolution to purchase a 2019 Toro Workman MDX gas from the Toro Company's participating distributor, Midwest Turf and Irrigation.
Thank you. Council? A motion and a second to approve the resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thanks, Jose. Item G, Consolidated Board of Equalization appointments. And Mike?
The county, city, and school district each adopt a resolution to consolidate the Board of Equalization within the city limits. The Consolidated Board hears citizens' appeal to the real estate valuation within the city and is made up of the 5 county commissioners, 3 city council members, and 1 school board member. The county auditor and director of equalization schedule the appointments. I was contacted by Anna Peterson, the director of equalization. They reported they're scheduling the first day of hearings to be on the afternoon of April 16th, starting at 1 o'clock. And as of now, they don't know how long, if they're going to need a second day or not, but in the past, they pretty much always got them done in that first afternoon. We would need to have 3 city council members to represent the city on the consolidated board, and would ask that the remaining members be designated as alternate in case something came up as we got closer to the date and somebody couldn't make it. I could call around and find an alternate to serve.
Here's your chance. Rich? Put Rich down. Now we need 2 more.
I'm going to appeal this year, so I'm off.
Okay. Still need 2 more.
I want to be an alternate, but I haven't done that.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Okay, Howard, 1 more. Okay, we've got 3, and then the rest of us are alternates. Okay, thank you, Mike. And now for the big item. The 2018 unaudited annual report. Did you already do it?
Yeah, we did it this afternoon. There wasn't any questions. But maybe there'll be some come up tonight. The annual report is required to be presented to the city council. They changed the law last year, moving it from the first meeting in March to the first meeting in May. I still want to get it done, so we're presenting it here in March. The auditing firm that the city has contracted with usually comes in the end of April and starts doing their work. And so by having the report done, they can get started instead of waiting. The report presented is unaudited, and only the financial sections included in there. The introductory section, management discussion, analysis, and footnotes, and statistical section will be completed by the time the audit report. After acceptance by our acknowledged receipt of the City Council, the required exhibits will be published, and a copy of the unaudited report will be sent to the Department of Legislative Audit. I have included a couple sheets that had some additional information on the report. If there's questions, I can go over that. Otherwise, if you do have questions, don't hesitate to call me or stop me. I've got extra hard copies of the report if you'd want them to go over. If there's any specific area you'd like, I can try to cover it.
Wishes of the council. Tom?
Just for clarification on what would be page 20, liquor, lodging, and dining tax, BBB, same thing, right?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Other comments, questions for Mike?
Second?
Motion and just a second to acknowledge receipt of the 2018 annual financial report. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Item I, funding request for South Dakota Special Olympics 2019 Summer Games. John, please.
This is just the final action with respect to the request the city received, I think it was last December. I did go to Labor and Finance Committee, and they took a look at it, and they recommended a $2,500 contribution to the state Special Olympics Summer Games, which will be held in Vermillion coming up this May, and then again in May of 2020. The recommendation from the Labor and Finance Committee was to donate $2,500 to that effort from the Bed, Board, and Booze Fund. So administration concurs with that and recommend approval of that contribution. If that is approved, then we would put it on your list of claims for the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you, John. Council?
Move approval.
Second. Motion and second. Other discussion?
John, do you happen to know how much the polar plunge brought in for the Special Olympics?
I can look up, I want to say I saw an article or a tweet or something that's around $10,000. 19, okay. That's better. Sorry.
Thank you.
Further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have bid openings. The first one is the fuel quotes. Mike?
I think there's some fuel quote sheets setting out there. The first quote was from Stern Oil on unleaded gasoline, 10% ethanol, $2.14.99 per gallon. Item 2 is number 1 and number 2 diesel fuel dyed. The blended cost is $2.52.41. Item 3 is number 1 and number 2 diesel fuel clear. The blended cost is $2.87. Second quote is from Burnick Service on item 1, $2.17. Item 2, $2.47. Item 3, $2.74. Looks like Stern would be low on 1, Burnick Service on 2 and 3.
Thank you, Mike. Council?
Second.
Motion and second to approve the low bids. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Next is the bid opening for golf cart lease. And Jose, please.
Thank you. On February 20th, 2019, the city opened bids for a new golf cart lease for the Bluffs Golf Course. The Bluff Golf Course, as you may know, does not own its golf carts. Like many other golf courses, the city leases the golf carts that are used at the golf course for several years and then returned to the owner. The golf carts are leased from the dealer distributor with the cost of the annual maintenance covered by the dealer. Bid specs for these golf carts were sent to 4 potential bidders. We did receive bids from 3 companies. Some of the bids were received included additional variations. Rather than going through the table, I guess I'll just say that we received 2 bids from, let me back up a little bit. We actually split this up into 2 different proposals. Each of the proposals had 40 golf carts and 1 beverage cart. We had proposal 1 with the 40 carts and the 1 beverage cart that was for a 5-year length, and proposal 2, same number of vehicles or carts, was for a 6-year lease. So knowing that we did receive, as I mentioned, 5 bids on proposal 1 and 5 bids on proposal 2. 2 of them were from Yamaha, Golf and Utility from Burnsville. 2 of them were from Miller & Sons golf carts from Elkhorn, Nebraska, and 1 of them was from NB Golf Carts out of Sioux Falls. The bids on proposal 1 varied or ranged from $34,152 to $42,501, and the bids on proposal 2 range from $37,861 to $45,532. Even though there were a couple of bids received from Yamaha for proposal 1, as I mentioned already, staff is proposing to award based on the more expensive proposal 1 bid from Yamaha, which is $34,478 as opposed to the $34,152. This is, even though it's more expensive, the city will still be experiencing a greater savings over the 5 years. for this lease due to the fuel efficiencies and with the Yamaha Quiet Tech, which are the vehicles in Proposal 1. The 2019 budget includes funding for golf cart leases. Administration recommends awarding the bid to Yamaha Golf Course and Utility from Burnsville, Minnesota on Proposal 1 on a 5-year lease for 40 Yamaha Quiet Tech EFI and 1 Yamaha UMAX Bistro EFI for $34,477.92 per year for the next 5 years. I'm here to answer some questions. If it's out of my league, I guess, or scope, then we do have a couple of gentlemen from the golf course, and Mr. Rusty Jensen and Mr. Jim Goldish, to answer those questions.
Council? Yes.
What's the reason of recommending the 5-year rather than the 6-year? Based on kind of my quick math, it looks like the 5-year would be $6,895 per year, whereas the 6-year would be $6,425.
I guess at the end of it, we would actually be seeing. Okay. Yeah.
What was the answer? I had the same question.
The pool is the per year.
Yes. What you see there is a per year. Yeah.
It's more expensive per year.
To get the 6-year, yes. Yep.
Further comments, questions? You're not going to make the guys in the back come forward?
Move approval of the low bid.
Second, no, wait, are we moving a little bit or are we moving?
Oh, or of the recommended bid, sorry. Jeez.
Is that
Thank you.
a motion?
Yes.
And did we have a second?
Yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thanks, Jose. Jose gets to now do chip seal project.
Okay. Similar to every year when I come here at this time for this, chip sealing is a cost-effective way to do street maintenance. It's essentially 2 steps. We go ahead and apply oil to the road that will be essentially sealing all the cracks that you might have, whether it be big ones or micro cracks. After that, then there's a chips applied to the oil, and these set inside the oil and offer a driving surface and also protects the oil from UV radiation. Bids were open on February 20th as well for this project. 3 bids were received. The low bid was from Top Coat out of Yankton for the amount of $114,671.71. Bid specifications were sent to 4 potential bidders. Again, bidding is required by state law when the cost of the project exceeds $50,000. The proposed project will be taking place on roads located in neighborhoods east of the university. The main stretch there would actually be Plum from Cherry all the way south to Lewis, and then additional streets, east-west streets off Plum. We're going to be going around Prentice Park and so forth with this project. And then we're going to be doing some streets in the downtown area, and then also finish up the streets that we were doing last year below the bluff in the Broadway 12th Street area, I guess, of the city. The contract is supposed to be completed by August 10th of 2019. Street department budgets for the annual chip seal project under the second penny sales tax funds and asphalt overlines line item. Administration recommends awarding the 2019 chip seal contract to Top Coat for the amount of $114,671.71.
Thank you, Jose. Council? Are you sure? Yeah. Motion and a second to approve the low bid. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Yeah, could I ask a question, please?
Before we vote?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, we voted, but so I don't.
Yeah,
you should-
we already voted, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had a question. I didn't want to interfere with the vote. Do we post, John, where this is going to be and when, these dates and locations, so that everybody's notified ahead of time?
Yep, actually, sorry, I apologize. About a week before we are, the way that it works is that we're notified by the contractor of the actual date that they're going to be coming over. And once we hear that, probably about a week beforehand, then we will go ahead and post each individual property that would be affected. We actually tape a note to their door, so everybody's notified some way or another.
Weather permitting.
Yes, weather permitting. And usually we pick a couple dates, and it's all up to the contractor. We have to be underway
Sure,
here.
sure.
So,
Thank you.
yep.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, item 10, City Manager Report. John, please.
Thank you. Well, before we can chip seal or enjoy those new golf carts, we need to get the snow removed from sidewalks. So just a reminder that snow is to be removed from sidewalks within 24 hours after the end of a snow event. A project we've brought forward a couple times, haven't had it happen yet, is Paint South Dakota will again have their event taking place in June. They are seeking a volunteer group to paint a house. The house must be occupied by a single family owner-occupied home that's in need of painting. The owner should be physically or financially unable to paint the house. Eligible homeowners and volunteer groups are asked to contact the city so that Vermillion can apply to be one of these 25 locations in the state. And those applications are due by April 12th. So if you are a potential beneficiary of this, or you're a group interested in carrying out this project, it'd be a neat project to bring here to the community. We do have 2 different openings on 2 of our respective boards. There's an opening in our tree board. This is for a partial year term. The expression of interest forms are due by noon on Wednesday, March 13th. We anticipate that the City Council will make an appointment at your next meeting on March 18th. There's also an opening on the Planning Commission, and that term runs through June of 2022. Again, expression of interest forms are due on Wednesday, March 13th at noon, and the City Council would make an appointment at the next meeting on March 18th. We did have a couple of raffle notifications that came in today, and they were placed here at the table for you. One is the Vermillion Rural Fire Department will be selling raffle tickets at their dance on Saturday, March 16th. The tickets range in price from $1 to $5, depending on the prize that's associated with that particular raffle. The top prize is valued at $500, and the proceeds from the raffles go to improvements at the fire training complex. The second raffle is the St. Agnes Knights of Columbus. They're selling $20 raffle tickets. Prices range in value from $50 to $150. There'll be 100 tickets sold from March 10th to March 24th. Winners are based on the last number of the opposing teams during the NCAA's Men's Elite 8, Final 4, and Championship round. And the proceeds from this raffle will be used for improvements in the St. Agnes School Gym. And then just one final item, the Planning Commission has their next meeting on Monday, March 11th at 5:30. And one of the items on their agenda is a conditional use permit for storage units on what would be Lot 10, Block 1. You might describe this as the land between the vet clinic and where Flex Screen or Navigant or the old Sioux Tools building is at. There's some space in there that's a separate platted lot, and there's a conditional use permit for some storage units there.
Thank you, John. Comments or questions for our city manager? Okay, then we'll go to invoices payable. Any comments or questions for Mike?
I have a question.
Okay, Tom?
On 177, Mike, does that 62,680 come out of the larger amount we present from the BBB?
Yes.
Thank you.
Other questions? Second. Motion is second to pay our bills. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. We have one consensus agenda item. Set a public hearing date of March 18, 2019 for a special daily malt beverage and wine license for the Vermillion Area Farmers Market at 202 Washington Street for a fundraising event. Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Steve? Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. We're adjourned.